My name is Alexis Parsons. I'm here to talk to you about mother-daughter relationships. So first I want to talk about family. Your family is who you learn to communicate from and for the most part communicate with. So within a family there are many different types of relationships. Father-son, sister-sister, brother-sister, overall thousands to choose from. But today I want to focus on the communication between mothers and daughters. Teresa Scott, who works for the National Association of Communication, says the mother-daughter dyad is one of the most dynamic and most often volatile of the familiar relationships. I have first-hand experience with the importance of good communication with my own mother. Growing up, I liked to think that I had a pretty good relationship with my mom. We were pretty close. I trusted her to talk to her and go to problems that I was having within my life. Therefore, today I'm going to focus on why this communication is important, what knowledge is shared and acquired through the mother-daughter relationship, and the evolution of the relationship and communication from the daughter's adolescence to adulthood. Good mother-daughter communication is important for benefits of all members of the family. The mother obviously has a sort of need to be needed throughout your whole life. From when you're little all the way into adulthood, you're always going to be your mom's little baby. So I remember growing up when I was real little, I used to read this book called I'll Love You Forever. And it's all about a mother and her child growing up, and even to the point where the mother is so old that she needs the child to take care of her instead of her taking care of the child. And it ends each page by saying, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. So it just kind of shows how, no matter how old you get, you're still going to be your mother's baby. It probably benefits the daughter most because of the knowledge that is shared and acquired through this relationship, which I'll get into a little later. But according to studies by Paulson, Hill, and Holmberg, maternal closeness has predicted higher levels of girl self-esteem, satisfaction, and expressiveness. So that's a big part of that as well. And now don't think I forgot about all the boys and men of the family. When mothers and daughters get along, it definitely benefits you as well. I mean, I think we can all agree on that when there's negative or miscommunication between girls, it could get pretty ugly. I mean, I have 2 sisters plus my mother, so there's 4 girls and 2 boys in our family, and I know they're a lot happier when we're all getting along and having good communication. So if their relationship's going well, everybody is just happier. And we talked about that earlier about communication climate. It just bodes for a better communication climate in the family. Additionally, daughters relate to their mothers and look to them for advice and guidance. They go to their mothers about questions about life, boys, sex, etc., especially during their teenage years. So during the teenage years, they kind of are more not likely to go to their mothers because they feel like they might be judged or they haven't been through the same thing. But a study by Willer focuses on the turning points in the mother-daughter communication. There are 5 main topics that the communication basically revolves around, which are negative relationship issues, deviant behaviors, changes in households, school issues, and illnesses. Some topics are obviously easier to talk about than others, like relationships and boys are a pretty easy subject because you figure that your mom knows a little bit about that, but more awkward conversations probably would be about sex and different things like that because you're like, they're kind of like touchy subjects at the time. So mothers may think of it as natural when addressed, but daughters see it as more of an awkward conversation. Other messages that mothers pass down to their daughters are a value of self-esteem, value of love, characteristics of good relationships, and one of the big ones is warnings. I mean, they've been through it, they want to pass on their experiences to their daughters, and definitely want to make sure their daughters try to not make the same mistakes. Usually it ends up happening, but we all can try. Lastly, the communication between mothers and daughters evolves with the age of the daughters. So as I said before, As a teenager, you kind of go to your mother more for needs that you have. So if you want advice or if you can benefit from getting something from her, that's when you go. But as you become an adult, it becomes more of a friendly conversation. You're more willing to open up to her. Smith says it best in that the relationship evolves into a friendship rather than a traditional mother-daughter roles. So as we learned before, the way we communicate with people definitely is based on the relationship we have with those people. So if you communicate well with somebody, you're going to be more willing to talk to them. And that's what happens as you age a little bit. So overall, the main idea is that mother-daughter relationships is important, and communication plays a big role in the closeness of that relationship. Not only do we as women have to realize how this relationship means to us, how much it means to us throughout our whole lives, but also the men need to understand and respect that mothers and daughters truly share a bond that is everlasting.